Now we will see the Goloka Varnana of Gargya. What was the concept of the universe or the multiverse of our ancestors? The living beings in our universe with their Brahmandas extending 50 crore yojanas to 4 sides and with 100 yojanas long is discussed as the current galaxy form. 8.8 yojana is 1 degree in Indian astronomy. From the upper Brahmandas, our Brahmanda appears as a small Paramanu, subatomic particle, says Gargya. His Goloka is one with crores of such galaxies and several light years beyond ours. He says, there in Goloka, our sun and moon are not great light-emitting bodies, but very small things within a Paramanu Brahmanda, within a subatomic particle. That means they are described as electrons, but he has not named the electron, but he has named the Paramanu. He says it is a Paramanu Brahmanda, within it small things, very small light-emitting bodies circling around within that Paramanu. That means without naming the electron, he has described the electron. That is what I mean, that science is not something which is new. There no lust, anger, greed, desires, sorrows, etc. exist in Goloka. And there is no old age, no birth and death. This is the nirvana for which Buddha strived for. There is no time as we experience here on earth, and no 3 gunas or prakriti, and that area is Nirayana. Nirayana is movementless, inertia state, not a moving place like the earth or the solar system. It's a movementless inertia, Nirayana state. Nirayana can also be said in Sanskrit as Narayana, nil. Nirayana, Narayana. Only the greatest soul who had Paravidya and are Nirguna reach this state. Garga says only Purusha there is Krishna, and all the souls are only females or Jivatman. Paramapurusha, Paramatman alone is Purusha. Every other thing, every Jivatma is only a created thing, therefore a Stri. Stri is that something which is Srava. Srava is something which flows out. That flows out from the Paramatman are only the Jivatman, nothing else. So all the Jivatma are in love with Krishna, Purusha, the only Paramatman. Even Shiva, when he desired to see Krishna, had to take the Stri form and love him, says the sage. For Gargya, Sannyasa Vritti is the Nirguna Parama Prema Vritti. We can see the astronomical awareness of the period from Gargya's discussion. Earlier it was mentioned about the Punarvasu star cluster with Sarama, the dog stars, etc. in another Upanishad, Swadhyaya. The dog star called Canis Major is seen in the southern half of the celestial hemisphere. They are imagined as the hounds of the Aryan. Aryan is the Amara Arya Kulam, is the Vattaikkurumagan Kulam. And now it is called as Orion. Aryan is the Chinapada word. Amara Arya Kulam. Now this Arya, when pronounced in Bengali, become Orion. And this, when given to the Greek and to the West, it becomes Orion. So the change in the pronunciation only. So the Vattaikkurumagan is the son of Shiva when he went for hunting. The Alpha Canis Majoris, the Sirius A, is the brightest star, and its binary Beta Canis Minor or Mirsam is the Sirius B. Now this we know. It is considered as the messenger that announced the coming of the protector, the Pravachaka and astronomer sage. Shaunaka was a sage of all these qualities. Shaunaka means a dog also, the son of a dog. Shaunaka. And seeing the dog stars, what does it portend? In the case of India, If you see the dog stars, it portends the rainy season. The prediction of the protector rains and monsoons for southern India. Here the protector is not a Prabhajaga, but the Pravajanam is of the rains. A geographical Pravajana, a geographical Pravajaga of the rainy season. Beyond the two Shaunaga stars is a cluster of stars. They are called the Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara in India. And a star cluster which is difficult to be seen by the naked eye. It's actually a blue giant. Brahma star is a giant of 40 stars, and modern science call it NGC 2362. I don't know why such a name should be given to that. We can call it Brahma still, no? NGC 2362 was called Brahma in the early days. We have changed it because we now follow another system, that's all. In our system it is Brahma. Vishnu is now designated by astronomers as the Vezan. Vishnu has changed its, but the pronunciation is almost similar, Vezan. Maheshwari is called now the Adhara. Vishnu Brahma Maheshwari. That Maheshwari is called Adhara, and in the stellar maps one can see it marked as Virgin or the Kanya star. So Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwari are the three stars. Canis Minor is a small cluster of stars in the celestial equator. Procyon, which means before the dog, is a star in it. Procyon, Sirius and the Tiruadira Ardra, the birth star of Shiva, makes a triangle. This is the trigonometry of India. If we draw a straight line from the Procyon to the south, we will find a small boat-shaped cluster of stars. In Sanskrit, this is called the Nava. And as the herdsman of this ship, we can see a star named after Agastya. At the hem of the Nava, you can see the Agastya, the Dakshinabada sage, worshipped by all the southerners. Agastya is now called Canopus. Cano is also a English word for Nava, no? Boat. Both Cano and Nava means a boat. And in the astronomy it is called Argo Navis. So only the language has changed. The thing has not changed. This is something which you don't understand. You just decide that all Sanskrit is religion. I don't know how people can be so foolish in such a geographic area where this has developed as a great science. People are becoming so foolish. Nearby are the southern fish. Near the boat is a southern fish. The southern fish are actually the sign of the Pandya. Fish is the sign of the Pandya, of the Kamadeva, but also the sign of all the Indus Valley people. So fish sign, it is near the boat sign. So Agastya, the boat, or Nava, and near that the fish. So after dog star, Agastya comes. The Canopus or Alpha Carina is the second brightest star that has been observed so far. About nearby, between 10 and 11 degree is a supernova. This is now called N Carinae. In 1843, this N Carinae burned and expanded as a flame, something like a Magarajyoti. Inside it is a nebula, which is larger than the nebula of Vettaikurumagan or Ayyappan. Vettaikurumagan is Ayyappan. Now called NGC 3372. It is crossed by a dust line with a dark color having a V shape. In its middle we can see something like a keyhole, and in its middle there is a point like thing called a bindu. In fact, this is the NGC 3372, that point. It is a place full of star clusters, and nearby we can see the very famous Trishanku star, named after the king Trishanku and related to sage Vishwamitra. You know that story. Now, this Trishanku is at present called the Southern Cross or Crux. Trishanku was the old name in Sanskrit. The modern name for the Europeans is the Southern Cross or the crux. This cross shape is in Brahmi called the Ka or Kakaram. Ka is written as a cross in Brahmi. So that the pravajana of a cross or crux is that of the Prajapati Brahma as Ka. Ka is Brahma in Sanskrit. So pravajana of a Brahma, a new Srishti, is that it is not about any human being. This is the cosmic world which was created by Saubhari for the 50 daughters of Mandhada, the great emperor of the South India, and which was given to Trishanku by Vishwamitra, because Trishanku also was a part of the same Kula, the Mandhada Kula. Here Saubhari with his friends, the fishes, did tapas within the river Kalindi. So that Kalindi, that Viraja, the nebula in the middle of Trishanku, is Krishnavairna. The color is Krishna, says. And this is the Virajaloga or the Gologa, the Trishanku Surga, the Saubha of Saubhari, the Kapura, the Satyaloga of Harishchandra. And this was known only to the people of the southern hemisphere, that is the South Indians, southern hemisphere and the South Indians, because of its special position, the angular position in the cosmos. It is seen only from the tip of southern India, not from the north. Greece or Rome or Egypt did not know about it. They could not see it because of the position. But all the seafaring people of the Asia Pacific had known it and observed it, and has been using it as their great star to know the directions of travel. The star knowledge of the Phoenicians in Sanskrit and Phoenicians in the Western world, they are the same as the serpent kings or the Nagavamshiya, the sons of Sharama, who travelled all over the globe in their ships, has to be understood by the extremely subtle way in which the astronomers of India had dealt with each detail of the zodiac. The Purana just reflects the knowledge of the astronomers in a mass media. It is not a Purana. They speak about this to teach the masses. In astronomical text you get the great details of all this. So Saubha of Saubhari or Kapura with shape of a Ka or cross in Brahmi is thus not a myth but a scientific truth. And when we see this in the IVC script, you have to think about the astronomy as well. In southern parts of India, in Sri Lanka, Vibhishana is called Saramaputra. It's not so. So in Sri Lanka, in Indonesia, and even in Mexico, we have the same story of the messenger star of dog, known as the Samvatsara in India, and the prediction of the monsoon, critical for sea voyage and for agriculture. Even in Timbuktu, Mali, you have the same story. So in the ancient people, it was there. The rise of the dog star, end of Agastya, and the appearance of Magarajyoti are to be seen with the astronomical truths expressed by our ancestors, not as a blind faith